He traded a last name for an X and told America to respect black lives, and he meant every syllable. I'm Matt Haskell, I'm a high school history teacher, and we're going through Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire line by line. And we went from Pope Paul, and now we're going to Malcolm X. And when Billy Joel sings Malcolm X, he points to a leader whose ideas and transformation defined the early 1960s. He was born Malcolm Little in 1925, and he survived some family trauma and some hustling years as, well, with the name Detroit Red. When he was in prison from 1946 to 1952, he devoured books. He embraced the Nation of Islam and replaced his surname, his last name, with X to reject the name of enslavement. When he was paroled, he became the Nation of Islam's most electric minister. He was also a spokesman. He wore precise suits. He had this razor logic and a message of black self-respect, discipline, and self-defense. He challenged the mainstream civil rights strategy. He argued that chasing white approval was a trap and that communities needed control over schools and neighborhoods and their own safety. Reporters just found him just irresistible. In debates and interviews, they made him a national figure. In 1963, after President Kennedy's assassination, Malcolm X said it was a case of chickens coming home to roost. The Nation of Islam silenced him for that remark. The break then widened into a split, and in March of 1964, he left the organization and he founded Muslim Mosque Incorporated and soon launched the Organization of Afro-American Unity to link U.S. struggles with global anti-colonial movements. And then came the pivot that rounded his message. In 1964, he made the Hajj to Mecca, and he took the name El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. He wrote of worshiping beside Muslims of every color and began speaking about racism as a human rights violation that the world should judge. His tone shifted. It was still uncompromising about dignity and defense, but it was newly global and inclusive. He traveled in Africa and the Middle East. He met with heads of state. He spoke at universities. And he pressed the case that black Americans, their fight was part of a worldwide demand for liberation. At home, he faced constant surveillance and mounting threats. And on February 21st of 65, as he began a speech at the Audubon Ballroom in New York, gunmen killed him. He was 39. And the loss froze a trajectory that was still unfolding. Recordings and writings, they show a mind that was moving, fast from this separatist rhetoric toward a coalition vision that was rooted in human rights, pride, and power over one's life. When we tie it back to the song, when Billy Joel says Malcolm X, it captures a whole argument inside the 1960s. The argument over methods and the goals and voice, and then also the evolution of a leader who just refused to stand still. And the reason why he matters, Malcolm X's story shows how identity and strategy and a worldview can change under pressure. He modeled fearless critique, and he demanded material control over community life, and he reframed civil rights as human rights, which is a frame that is still used today and should be used today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please, the likes, the follows, the comments, all that cool stuff, I'd appreciate it. And I'm going to keep chugging our way through the song. We're running out of things to talk about, because next up, Pope Paul, Malcolm X, British politician sex. I'll give you the details on that one in the next episode. Thanks for watching.